right? We have a past and we have a present. We also have a external influence and an internal influence, right? Make this little grid real quick. Go ahead, everybody. Go ahead. So our mindsets are shaped by internal and external influences in the past and the present, right? We do not have a lot of control over the past external and internal influences. And I'm going to break these out for you what they are. We have some control over the present external influences, and we have a lot of control over the present internal influences. Let's do some here. Let's look at what is a past external influence. Well, I mean, parents, right? Or whoever you were brought up around. I bet they had a big external influence on you. You modeled their behavior. They said what to do, what not to do. Then you have teachers, right? You have teachers. These are an external past influence. You have friends. Does anybody have a friend from the past that was a bad external influence? Raise your hand. If you were that friend, raise your hand. Thank you, Natasha and Dwayne. And then you have religion or religious leaders, right? They were a past external influence. So then what is the internal influences from the past? Well, this is your attitudes, right? You're pretty sure that's spelled wrong, but let's not worry about spelling right now. Okay, so your attitudes, beliefs, right? Beliefs, emotions, right? Emotions. We'll fix it because I know my brain will keep thinking about it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have our attitudes, our beliefs, and our emotions. These are the internal influences, like how we were feeling then in the past. And here's something you may or may not know, but every single thing that happened to you, feel, touch, sound, taste, all of this, hear, anything that happened on any of the sensory levels, and there's some levels we won't even talk about today, like energy levels, it's all sitting there in a storage bank for you. And it's just saying, tell me when to act like this now. Tell me when to do like this. Now we have the present, right? So let's look at some of the present external influences. Well, this seems to be a big one today. You tell me if family's an interesting, more interesting today than it was 3 years ago. I bet it is, because now a lot of family tells you, well, you should think this way, or you should feel this way, or you should get that thing, or you shouldn't get that thing. And you're sick, you should do this thing. And if you're not sick, you should do that thing. And now all of a sudden, I bet some of you, you might be level 40 or 50 years of wisdom or 60, but your mom's really telling you what to do now. Has anybody got a mom or dad like really telling them what to do? And you're like, holy crap, like I thought I like grew up from this thing. And they're like, no, don't go there. Don't do that. Don't take that thing. Do take that thing, right? So you have this present external. You have the media, right? Hail to the media, right? They're telling you how to feel, think, act, believe, and everything's true. As long as you believe it's true, we will not do you wrong. Channel 7 or 4 or 2 or whatever, right? And then you have this present external influence, right? You have these commitments and responsibilities, right? You have these responsibilities of like, people need me to do things and think of things, and I'm responsible for things. There could even be some genetics here, right? There could be some genetics in the present creating an external influence. You got to know your past, external, internal, and you got to know your present. And then we'll start putting a puzzle together that we could create any life that you desire. Now, what's the internal influences that are present today? Well, probably similar, right? Like attitudes. Let me ask you a question. Attitudes. Do you think people have more of an attitude today or less of an attitude? Genetics could be, Stephen, like something physically on the body, right? It could be the way the body is functioning. It could be something that's present and external as much as a twitch or anything like that. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like a little more attitude from everybody, right? Your mask is on, your mask is off. Should you do this? Don't do that, right? And this now has launched a little more intensive beliefs. You're being challenged probably on your beliefs more than ever before. And you tell me this, emotions. Are people way more emotional or less emotional? Well, let me answer it for you. If anxiety is through the roof, Dwayne, I would put states of anxiety as state of emotions, right? And just so you know, most of this anxiety stuff, which is very painful for a lot of people, tough to deal with, it is a constant state of triggering between past and present, external and internal. And if people understand that, let's think about this whole thing about it. And most people have some form of anxiety. Their anxiety is normally about a future that never happened based on a programming of a past that did. I got hurt or sick. Like I had, I'll say in case this ends up on YouTube, we'll abbreviate it. I had the big C thing, right? You know that thing that's going around? The CD, right? The second level thing. And so like a lot of people that have this, they go, man, I got walloped by that thing. No, I am afraid to go there. I don't want to get walloped again. So you're like, you want me to be there, and I get at this heightened level of emotions that go through the roof, and then it creates anxiety. And then instead of understanding this, everybody, like if anybody has anxiety, I would want to teach them how it happens, why it happens, and what you're really dealing with here. Then we can make, a professional could tell you, or a lot of times people can do it self. You can make yourself new decisions to change this. It's not about controlling it. It's about, and maybe write this down. It's not about controlling things. It's about understanding things, right? With the mind, it's not about controlling it. It's about understanding it. So do you guys type in for me so that I know, what is your big takeaway right here from number 2? The past, the present, the external, and the internal. If you were to summarize it in a couple words for me, what do you think is what's impactful for you there? And then we're going to go to types of mindsets here. Boom, you can control what you understand. You sure to hell have a lot better chances of controlling what you understand than somebody trying to tell you you can't control it, so let's sedate it, right? It's probably, and I'm not saying you should be or shouldn't be on medication stuff. I would never do that. I don't have the doctorate degree to prescribe the to support the, you know, what's happening in the pharmaceutical world. That's not what I do. But I do understand this. When you understand how the brain works, you get to make new brain decisions. Write that down. When you understand how the brain, the mind, and all this works, it's taken me 3 decades to learn all this stuff. And trust me, I'm not perfect. If you want to talk, like my wife and I were talking with somebody about it not long ago, the time where, and I'm not saying, okay, now listen, I'm not saying I'm proud of this, Ray. I'm just saying it happened. You know, the time I kicked a shelf off the wall was not one of my proudest moments, but I did kick the shelf off the wall, right? I did not understand what my mind was doing. I didn't understand the difference between that set mindset is the ability of, that's the only way it could be. I want you to be clear of that. When you tell somebody, just change your mindset, they're like, what do you mean? It's the only way it could be. It's the only way I know how to be. If everybody knew how to change the sets of programs in their mind, everybody would be living the exact desired